Welcome back to TV7 Live, where we get to give you all the hottest and top trending topics, broadcasting live and direct from Zimbabwe, Africa. Now, what do we have tonight on a Sunday evening? A whole lot of things there. We're seeing Zimbabwe war veterans putting Zanu PF under fire. And I'm going to be playing a short video where we see some war veterans there throwing very big attacks there, and these guys will be very, very brave. On this one, you don't need to trust me, you just have to see for your own self. Enough respect to everybody who's watching us live. To those watching us live, can you confirm if you can hear me loud and clear? And to those watching us live also, you can write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat that I get to see your name so I can give my shout outs. Alright, so before we go over there, we have almost 3 people. Now this is happening right about now, just before the Zimbabwe war veterans have their war veterans congress. As we can see here, this has been a stalled progress in these War Veterans Association circles or cycles. This is 31 May 2024. This by Herald, it reads War Veterans Congress shelved. Right, then we see this one here. Pro-ED War Veterans faction to host Congress. How many war veterans are there? How many war veterans factions and functions and fractions are in existence? How do you know which one is which one? Would they profess to say, you know, we stand by what? Remember 2017. Who do we see in 2017 representing the war veterans? It was not Matima Danda. It was Christopher Mchangwa. Christopher Mchangwa becomes one of the people who becomes vocal in the not so cool where we see the military saying we want to remove the people who are frying the beans near Mugabe, Jivaro, Jakatendereza Bobo. Enough respect to Tsanangurai Machaka, says evening, can hear you loud and clear. To Misangongo, Clashes Chi says watching live from Pretoria, fresh sound, enough respect there. Good evening, loud and clear. Big up to Priscilla Mangwende there watching us live. Today we see Nelson da Chamisa, the leader of the citizens, make an interesting post. It is just a simple post, but it ain't simple. It gets one to think, and I did just that. He would write, solid rail infrastructure is key for national development. Then he puts 4 dots there, followed by a question. How many kilometers of rail have been constructed by government since 1980? Double question mark. Then I go to research on this. How many meters or kilometers of railway have been constructed since 1980? So one would respond to Nelson Chamisa. First response will be, with all due respect, President, we want to see action. I added an alert notification on your tweet, hoping that one day you will show us direction. Hope is dying slowly, sir. And he writes back, keep strong. Hope is never a waste of time. All right, so now on these railway lines, these are some of the railway trains that we power wires there. Now we don't even have power, electricity in the city. Right now there is no electricity, hence why I'm broadcasting using my phone there. Now, number 2, new links. A new rail link from West Nicholson to Bette Bridge was inaugurated in 1999, improving connectivity with South Africa. So this is one we see in the year 1990. Then fleet modernization. Then 1990 again, the introduction of diesel electric locomotives in early 1990s, and new passenger coaches in 1998 modernized the fleet. Then recently, what has been happening, we have been seeing the logo of Zupco and also the logo of Sadak and all the other things that are not are related. Then, since the inception, National Railway of Zimbabwe has faced numerous challenges. So I'm just going to read and mention some of them. Since its inception, let's just say since 1980, the major problem is one, it is corruption. But however, let's just give this. Number one, economic decline. The overall decline of Zimbabwe's economy has severely impacted National Railway of Zimbabwe, leading to reduced funding and operational capabilities. The overall economic decline of Zimbabwe basically impacted everything. Number two, neglected infrastructure. Maintenance issues have resulted in a significant portion of the railway network falling into despair, with only parts remaining operational. At one point earlier on this year, I would come across a video where we see a train that will be moving in Zimbabwe, in the railway lines, there's grass, trees growing there, all those things over there. So, right. Number three, aging rolling stock. The fleet is outdated, with many locomotives and carriages in poor condition, contributing to service disruptions. Debt crisis. National Railway of Zimbabwe is heavily indebted, making it difficult to secure investments for necessary upgrades and maintenance. What would investments mean? That word has a different meaning in Zimbabwe. All right. Of course, there are people who can invest. Do you invest in your own startup or in your own venturepreneur, or you invest into somebody else's idea? Or our idea of investing is you come and I go get a percent of whatever you wanna be doing, man. Just come here, okay, and I'll put my friends and my friends' friends and my girlfriends in the list. Why am I saying this? Where am I going to this? People should just be free to start their own businesses without any fear or interference in that. You can invest in your own self and start your own thing that is independent of anybody. Of course, we have to follow the rules and the regulations. Like, of course, you have to deliver. You should not be a fraudster and misrepresent. And then all those other laws, they have to apply, and we have to banish all laws that hinder progress. Like the types of laws that we don't even see in the books, where people can cook up new laws just to stop somebody. I will refer back to the Mliswa case, right? Because it is the one that we would all remember. Remember what happened to Mliswa when he wanted to start Econet Wireless. These guys, those days there was a majority in the office. She starts cooking up new laws, something to do with the ownership of the telecoms equipment. Right now, it is the same law that is being used during this time, where stars of Zimbabwe should be linked to the Starlink there, belonging to Elon Musk. But we are seeing guys wearing masks, pretending to be the agents. Of course, there may be people with money to procure the hardware from there and then sell the hardware here at a high price. I checked that earlier on today. Elon Musk's Starlink kit is going for $200, but how much are we selling here in Azim? $500, $600. Now, how can one be putting a markup of $300 US? It is more than the original price of the thing. Now, that is not even corruption. It's a corruption. It's eruption. Then we see debt crisis, NRZ, Air Zimbabwe, and any other Zimbabwean parastatal. This would make them seem like a jet, right? So indebted, making it difficult to secure investments for necessary upgrades and maintenance. Okay, indebted. Now we are seeing Telecel Zimbabwe. It has less than 150,000 active subscribers. Those guys, they got infrastructure, right? The company has got, of course, degraded assets, which may be liability in that depreciation would have happened. But along Seke Road, there is this big telesale office building which is worth lots of money there. But anyways, to be running a telecoms network, you don't need a lot of things there. These guys, they have policies where they're sharing hardware, etc. But besides, that maintenance is not expensive. They failed to run that business. And I won't be surprised to learn that there are people still working there, and the bosses still getting the big cars to be rolling in, the Range Rovers and the another range of cars, which names I can't even pronounce. So that's what these guys always do. Now, competition and deregulation, whatever it was, what it is what it is. So we cannot say the National Railway of Zimbabwe failed. Let's just say the guys are working on it. Okay, just to be polite. Enough respect to everybody who's watching us live right about now. However, that doesn't change what is still on Zimbabwe's parastatals and the state's paralyzed sectors. We have the Zimbabwe Republic Police. Now, this one, personally, I would take it personally. I don't view such thing. I don't even call it humor. This is not a laughing matter. A ZRP officer is waiting for a combi to transport a suspect who has been arrested. So even here is true that this has been the modus operandi of them guys here. So the police are going to check the guys there. Private transport, I don't know who funded them, but just that being the case, it is a loophole that would be tempting the officers into corrupt activities. So we see him there, and with that Changani bag there, or Saga bag there, whatever it is called. I'm just giving the name, the words that I know. I know all those words, they are not it. So we see here, and the guy is in cuffs there. Then we see the police officer there. So anything that is demeaning, as in the image of the police officer, when a South African sees this image in South Africa, or a Zambian sees this image, or United States of America, an American sees this image, an American may actually have a different perspective. They may say, these guys are in a third world nation, okay. But our fellow brethren and sisters from the neighboring in Africa, when they see this, and you go there, you are looking for a job, and you say, I'm from Zimbabwe, and they know this, you may actually be bargained. So this is the police officer there. Even the uniform, of course, we need to be changing these things. Of course, we see significant efforts by some of the guys there, equipping the police with the cars, etc. But what matters is what matters. Who do we start with? Do we start with the teachers? Do we start with the military people? Do we start with the police? Who do we start with? It's not a difficult one. We start with corruption and building national pride. So these guys now, there was a question that was being asked around, and this question was going like, would these guys be able to catch them guys there who looted 4 million in Bulawayo at Eco Bank? Of course, we have various units. Some guys are very efficient. We have people who work to build their own names, be they detectives, be they doctors, nurses in Zimbabwe. If you just do your work with passion, God will bless just that. But how many people are passionate, right? We see this. This is in Harare CBD. Again, this is a very sad scene. We see 3 police officers there, right? So these guys, they're doing it in the afternoon. We can call them the Three Musketeers because they're doing that in the afternoon, in broad daylight. Then the guy, they comes and hands over. I cannot see what it is, but obviously it is money. That's how one would receive money. Okay, that's a note there. So these are three guys there are being handed over that money. So basically, our police has been reduced to mini bullies, like the bullies we see in schools. They will be asking children for their lunchbox, things like that. So this is sad. This is very sad. I will not say these guys who want to survive, etc. Of course, it is we trying to justify what. The moment you try to justify something, it means it is not just. Enough respect to Stanford Makwengwere, enough respect to Richard Kadondo. Thank you very much there for the positive feedback there. Mambeo Vincent, enough respect. Lillian Marker, thank you very much there for that positive comment there. Le Recon Glover says Chamisa is like that. About that, what I know is it would help having him somewhere nearby to just improve the people's confidence in governance, because people's confidence in governance plays a huge role in us working together and not to scatter. There would be a positive mindset right about now on. Somewhere in the Bible is written, men shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the Father, the Holy Spirit. So we need inspiration, we need positive message, we need the good news of the kingdom of God, right? So the kingdom of God basically is us where we are right now, but we don't relate to God. Do you know that? Let's forget about his name, okay? Because we would name him. He is named by who? Like the owner of this earth and the cosmos, right? And basically we get the world's first life book. Come on, it's just a book that motivates you. There's sciences, there's mathematics there's literature, a whole lot of things there we can learn. There's active philosophy, all those things. So the positive message, we should speak positive. As a man thinketh, so is he. Now, what is thinking? Oh, the auditory. How do you think? Do you think in pictures or you think in words? So we speak into being. Now, for the drama part, we see now these guys are the war veterans tear apart their party. Very, very true. However, Zimbabwe is for everybody. Those who now, what is he talking about here? That's where we're seeing the peak of corruption. We are seeing at the peak of many other things and everything else. We are seeing at the peak of many other things and everything else is coming now, all to crash at one point. Remember DRC, where we were sending a whole lot of money, consuming about $5 million every month. This is the minimum, right? So the DRC war there, they will cost our nation. Then we see Gideon Gono there beginning to print money. So the guy is jovial, the guy got energy. He has never printed money before. We only know Tumba. And the guy just comes in and prints more money. Okay, you're gonna print more money. Now they start devaluing the money, print more money, devalue the money, and we've been in that vicious cycle ever since those days. I would assume that Gono wouldn't know that, even though he's an economist, wouldn't know that if you print money, you are killing money. The things we always do in Zimbabwe. Imagine now, where do we see the ZiG? The ZiG has gone rigid and the value has dropped. Now you can rig the ZiG and you can't give the ZiG a wig.
ndakaona pepe ndakaona umba ndakaona 50,000 ndikada kutenga umba muna derere kumabvuku yainzi kuita 62,000 ndikaenda kubhengi kuti wandipe loan ndakashaya loan zve hanga isingapindirani nepay yandaipuwa saka ndotenga ine 50,000 ende pa 50,000 chacho takawirirana 500,000 ndobva mugabe wati tombokupai 50,000 tosiya 450 tozokupai nanhasi mugabe wakasaka ora
2000 esho wangoti tipira futi ikoti yakati pane mari yedu tikuda mari yedu
aiwa nhasi hatiendi kumba kana achida kutora kutisa matraki dzavachitore tonoorera kuti kurubhiko ndikuda mari ndikuda mari zvinhu zvese zviri kuitikako zviri kuitika nemari ngavatipe kana wasina mari yacho ngawapuwe naana queen b vana queen b vane mari yekuti vanogona kutipa ichiaerekeke
ngawatipe mari kana wasina mari yacho ngawapuwe naana queen b. So basically what we're seeing here is a lady saying facts that are true there, but she's not on point what she want to be talking about. I'm going to assume that these war veterans are there for their pension, right? But they're not getting that pension at that time. And then she puts all those stories to be threatening the Zanu PF elites guys to try to influence them as if something big is about to happen, trying to escalate. But when she tries to escalate, she doesn't have really factual facts. Of course, these are facts that people would relate to in terms of attacking the guys, the sharks in the tank, right? But not much substance here. Then on the 50,000, she's asked about the 50,000, and she says Mugabe actually promised us 500,000, $500,000. So that's not the case. Then, however, also that woman, she is a good pawn for anybody who wants to be using somebody to cause some attention. However, there is no substance. Why am I saying this? It's a pity to see a war veteran speaking like this as not a stakeholder of anything, but same struggle they would be going through during the liberation struggle. That is the same struggle. It seems that Zimbabwe gained liberation in 1980, but the struggle continues.
Government yacho itipe mari vana queen b vane mari ngavatipe tikuda mari
kana ivo vane mari vanhu ngavatipe mari
Smith chaiyanga ari masanctions chaimo but aikunda sezvinhu zvake Smith aigara ari mundege.
Another one then says Smith chaiyanga ari masanctions but aikunda sei zvinhu zvachona. That's an interesting subject here, Smith. However, also we're seeing this interesting also coming from the war vets. We rarely see my war vets speaking on subjects like this, even though they might not be much substantial, but speaking on such controversial or so-called controversial topics, it would mean something. It means that these guys, they have become docile generally. Okay, so these ideas actually exist in their mindsets, right? I'm not suggesting an uprising or regime change. Of course, things have to change. That is the reality in Zimbabwe. Things are not working as they are. That is what is. So that's what I'm talking about. Here. Then he mentions here the blame on sanctions, etc. Now, the Zimbabwe government now, I don't know. These guys may actually be affected by sanctions. Zig, how many months? The Zig, okay. Recently, I'm learning that these guys, they are saying we have baked our currency, but it's not related with the gold in the reserves there. The gold will always be there if it is there, right? And you don't bake a currency with the reserve reserve would be extra. So basically it's backed by nothing, right? Oh, it's backed. So why fry the beans now and it's devalued? Why didn't you just liquidate the gold, get the gold sold, and then the money remains standing bold? So it's very sad. Of course, the Bible says faith moves mountains, right? Faith moves mountains, and it is very, very true. Here we are seeing the guys there trying to work minerals and miracles, trying to move mountains with he, she says. Just because I say so, it is so. Okay, I'll change next time when we be devaluing it. We will tell you the truth, but we will tell it in a certain language. You will not get it. Okay. Enough respect, everybody who's watching us live. Stanford Makwengwere. So now this one will be the weaker one. Okay, not much substance. We see this guy again now. This one is talking about his family, right? Anybody can make any claims. Anybody can say anything about anything. It is not for me. We are bringing it as it is Caesar. Just because a person said it, it means something, whether it's misrepresented or what. It is something else. Big up everybody watching us live. John Katunga says my uniform Emma Purisa Edu ama private security companies kunedzimwenyika. It's very, very sad indeed. Very, very sad. Anyways, these guys would be buying the cars, $200,000 cars, and all those things. Some things we should just be doing for our national pride. When people have that national pride a bit, then we stop becoming the most miserable nation in the world. I would agree with that thing talking about miserable. I don't meet miserable people. I just see them when I pass by them. Or a lot of people are miserable to very serious extent that the whole nation would actually be needing counseling. Zimbabweans have become so miserable to that extent, and we're going to be needing a lot of mental health hospitals in Zimbabwe to be dealing with the people of Zimbabwe. Hence why I always say Zimbabwe needs a revival or a change in the mindset, a mind shift like we see happening in Kenya. Of course, the shift in Kenya, it's inspiring the completion of the cycle. I'm not talking on behalf of the protests. They did need protests, no violence, etc. But the mindset to be doing one thing, it is something else. It would be similar to the movement we would see happening sometime in Taiwan. Very, very powerful. When people are moving in one accord, even similar to the historical Tiananmen Square happening there in China, where people are moving as a people, as one people. Of course, during 2017, we didn't move as one people. Of course, we moved as one people, but we almost had that momentum where we could have a revolution as in a change of mind, a revolution, right? Remember, a 10 is a revolution. One revolution, two revolution, 60 revolutions per minute. So a revolution is not necessarily holding the gun. No, a revolution is when the mindset of the people would then change. It may be stimulated by what they call a liberation struggle. But a revolution is the change in the people. Revolution would relate more like with the biblical revelation. Of course, the revelation is the revelation of Christ. Revolution of the mindset of the people. We may emancipate ourselves from mental slavery or just from certain few beliefs.
tasara tiri nherera nekuda kwensangano yeZanu-PF. Takakurira amo takavimbika kusvika patavari nhasi tasara tava nherera. Ini ndini ndakagara namai nguva refu kuno kurutenga. Chakatiuyisa kuno kurutenga hatina kungouya kuno nokuti kwakanzi anotengesewa haibodo. Takauya kuno kurutenga nekuda kwokuti baba vedu vanga vajoina politics, vava member of parliament for Mliswa.
Alright, this guy is saying we've lost everything because of Zanu-PF. We didn't come here because of stands were being sold, but we came here because our father had joined Zanu-PF. He was now a member of parliament for Mwenezi there. So as we can hear, this guy is very passionate. What he's talking about here, he's saying Zanu-PF have destroyed all our things there. So what happens in a political party? A political party, basically anybody is free to join, anybody is free to grow through the ranks. Of course, they have their leaders, but it is the People's Party. When you decide to join politics, we shouldn't be in denial of knowing how politics operates. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that to bring out this position. Any member of a political party is just as Zimbabwean as you are. A so-called ruling party or what? It would be your duty to uphold the constitution. I've noticed that very many times we see overzealous supporters of the political party or not purporting to be, who may be sent or not sent by the party, but who basically, your activity is malicious, this is criminal. Whether you are Zanu-PF, you are Chechi PF, or you are whichever, if come election time, people don't go to vote. We see low voter turnout. The percentage of people there who show up, it's very put on social media, on up in their numbers, but done before, whatever it would be. Because we should keep those guys on their toes. We are Zimbabweans and the life is now. Okay.
So ndochi chakatiisa kuno tikawana kuna madzinorudo dzemurutenga dzikatigamuchira tikagara nadzo. Problem yavo yakatanga musi wavaita problem. Ndakati mota iya yatsva toda kugadzira mudhara riri ikoko kuti ichinjiwe ownership yacho ibve kuna mudhara iende kuna muchemberi. Paida mapepa anga ari mota yakanga yatsva iya. Ndobva ano mwanangu chimanya kuMwenezi unopiwa police report. Ndobva ndaenda kuMwenezi. Pauti vandipe police report vakandipa bepa iri vandakabata rimwe. Rokulenzi harisi iro. So pandakazouya naro kuno ndotiudza muchembere voverenga vakaribata. Bepa iri rinotaura kuti pamota yenyu yakatsva makamang'ara. Rekodhi rachona rinoti zvakati zvakati. Vakaita nguva vakabata bepa iri. Vachitaura vakatanga kurondedzera kubva musha wavo chitsva nguva yehondo. I think it was 1978, I don't know, ndakanga magore racho.
Alright, this guy was speaking at his father's funeral. Now he's saying, following that incident there to do with the car that got bent and the police don't make the investigation, the guy started to recall going back to the year 1970 where his home is bent because of the war. Right? So one thing we noticed from the son here, he says, of course, I'm not versed in these subjects, right, which is a good thing. Because when you don't know something, you have to admit you don't know. So basically, this would be a normal family that may not be well versed in the dynamics of African politics, in particular Zimbabwean politics, how this operates, right? It might be a normal family, noble family, and when they being in politics, it's everything straight, not necessarily by the book. because in politics you cook the books as you go, right? So we think this guy, so they are expecting help from the party, but they are the party. Again, I'm bringing this to let you know that any member of the party is just like you. Anybody else, anybody can join any party and go through the ranks. It all depends on your maneuverability and your brilliance. Big up to John Kutanga. Enough respect there. Says my uniforms my private security companies. Okay, I read that one day. Police uniforms have changed in most countries. Check Botswana and South Africa there. Okay, I don't know what's happening with my comments. They enough respect to everybody who's watching us live. Keep them comment, keep normal person, and they go through the losses. And we expect the whatever party to be helping in that. That can help here and there, and depending if the funeral is going to be getting publicity and all these other things there. So these people are speaking from their family set up, what happened to their family. What about the other families that we don't know? The family is bitter and devastated because of that, and this is being made at a funeral, right? Of course, here and there, this guy can get some few hooligans who can try to harass him because he's talking about his family. With his family, they exist criminals anyway and everywhere. He actually be wearing a machete top, so it doesn't matter.
Kuti mshonga wangu wakati nataka vaka abo zvaionekwa kuti pamushapa ticha apa asi wakaka noti paidiki kwa maganda vakarondedzera zvose vakangobata bepa vakati ivo hatichina baba vako.
I think that happened. Vachibikira magandanga etc. So one of the things that we don't know about a war or a fight or an armed conflict or an armed engagement, there are various ranks. There are people like commanders, there are trainers, there are bases. Basically, then there are people who give themselves to the struggle, who make the decision to be collaborators. Collaborators are casualties. There are certain spiritual who is a collaborator. What is their role? Their role is to sacrifice. That is the role of the collaborator. Because you would have generally given that. In that, as of nature as is, right? God is God, right? But he allows certain things to happen under certain instances. So like if you are in a war and you are in a collaborator, you are a collaborator, it means you are killable by a gun. Because a person cannot kill a person even if they point the gun direct and shoot your life. But as long as you know that nobody can kill you, nobody can kill you because it is you who would allow them. So I don't want to go superstitious and talk things like magic, those things there, because a lot of people are not only superstitious, especially these days in Zimbabwe. They are not delusional. The inverse of delusional, they are living illusions. A lot of practice and beliefs that I'm seeing, it is real life Mahumbwe. Imagine in Mahumbwe, when become Madhaka. So in spirituality, that's where we are seeing, it's what we're seeing. People in them rituals, funny rituals, hey, right? Whatever it is, it may be just eating pizza here and there, it's a ritual there, right? Your culture, agriculture, what you we perceive certain things. Now people are talking about goblins. Goblins will be allegorical characters that are introduced by William Shakespeare Now everybody's is all about goblins, 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 goblins. Oh my God.
So Moon, I just have to join politics. But politics is actually not zakasiya tisisi navo nhasi. So vakatsanangura zvakawanda. Zvisinei noupenyu, isu semhuri takarasikirwa nezvinhu, mabusiness opportunities nokuda kwe-decision yabambo vako yokujoina politics. Vakawana plot kungozoti pava paya factionalism muZANU-PF yapika, takatorega plot iroro ndokumbira vomuite zvokurekodha zvandotaura pano so that munonyora musingasiri zvanenge vataura. Vakataura vakati 2008.
All right, it says we were given a plot, but plot iro takatorwa rakabva police commissioner, right? Then he goes, kana kuine vakomana vekuma office, kana muchitora mareports mutore zvandokutaura, not else. Then he continues here again. What does he say?
West, 16 hours before an election, pakazongonzi constituency yava yavanhu. Ndokubva tashayawo toita sei? Ndokubva baba vati no zviko muno musha muna mai. Zvamurimo muno mai rundi mumodondopinda. Takamanya pa 16 hours idzodzo tikakambenera mai vedu vakawina zvinohlisa over 3,000 votes. Uya umwevo wavaikukwidzaira naye akawana, I think it was far less than 30 votes. But munhu waisainira vanhu, chairman wemusangano, wakati ndine instruction yokuti uyu ndiye chaiye candidate yomusangano. It was 2008. She was narrating vakabata bepa iro. Ndoda kuti muzviwisise kuti semhuri tasara tiri nherera chikonzero chii. Decision yabambo yavakaita sometime back then yokujoina politics. Tingadai tiri mberengwa vari headmaster kuona vari chii pamwe tinavo nhasi. So tiri pano nokuda kwaizvozvo. So kubva musi wandareva uyu wa19 mai havanambobvira vanaka.
Right, so we are seeing a case of a family that is troubled there by a lot of things there. What I think, if they will be watching this video, I think they should accept what happened because it is part of life. Because if you wouldn't have died of sugar diabetes, maybe you would have died of tuberculosis, maybe of heart attack, maybe car accident, right? So you cannot blame yourselves or him that the decision he made is what would lead to that, right? If he didn't make that decision, maybe he would make other decision also, and you'll be saying that decision with that mindset that should bring closure, because that's what it is. If you focus on something, any problem, whether real or perceived or it's really real, you want to get over it. If you focus on it, you are focused on it, so it means you are focused on it. We have to give more goal. It says 4 meter I want to get our man. That issue 4 million, that one will never be found. That one will never be found. Whether inside job, outside job, whatever job. Such type of robbery in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a very loose nation. In practice, in reality, of course, we have highly trained and skilled security personnel, but they'll be somewhere else doing some other things. Maybe when a case becomes a state of emergency of state, that's where they will see big action. But basically, in Zimbabwe, people are corrupt. The meaning of the word corrupt means rot, not operating. Corruption doesn't even only end at bribing. It starts there. Then it goes spiritual. I would have read many verses on this, many verses on corruption, but I don't know them by head. I will have to be researching. It is as serious as that. So a person, even on their job, they will not be able to deliver the moment they engage in a corrupt practice. It is logically and physically not feasible for the person to stay efficient. And the more they become corrupt, the more they are desensitized, the more their hearts become heavy. Hence, that will be the death of the spirit man. That conscience that guides you in what you want to be doing, then the heart starts beating. Kitty, 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 kitty. With Jesus knocking on the heart, on the door of your heart. My man, what are you doing? Jesus knocking. My man, what are you doing? Right. Why? Because he left us the Holy Spirit in each one of us to be walking with us. Right. So I don't like using those words like the Holy Spirit, etc., etc., because just like in politics, a lot of people have been threatened by ignorant people who purport to be who they are not. So they want to consolidate worshipping people into their own corners. So they will be scaring people. You know, the type of people, like let's say when they are a spiritualist, they will tell you every of your relative is evil, is against you, because they want you to be separated with your relative, such that when payday comes, you don't pay school fees for your relative who you now call far relative, but you go give them 1 or 2 G's consistently, and they'll be helping you in rituals for the next many years. So a lot of people have been scared by the so-called spiritual things. As we are spiritual. Okay, as we are spiritual. I don't want to go too scientific in that. I don't want to sound like I'm too overzealous or what. But those things are explainable. Science is a part of seeking the truth or the observable truth. So a lot of people say science is satanistic, and all those lot of things that were created by God, they are said to be satanistic. The devil is nothing. That's why he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. The devil is a petty thief. With that, I sign out. Dr. Clarence, TV7 Live. As always, thank you everybody for watching. Enough respect. Everybody who was watching us live right about now. We're at 55 minutes. I'm ending it here because I don't want to be going to 1 hour there. Enough respect. Once again.